Okay, so I'm Paul Breen, board member of Charlton Athletic Supporters Trust, and today I'm interviewing Charlton's Hergametoo representative, Tash Everitt, in the University of Greenwich. So, welcome, Tash.
Hi Paul, how are you?
Yeah, fine.
Good.
So I'm looking forward to this weekend's game against Accrington Stanley. So this is the Hergametoo official match, isn't that right?
It is, yeah. We already had one on Sunday for Charlton women's game against Southampton. They won 1-0, so it's good. Hopefully the men can do the same against Accrington on Saturday.
Okay. So what sorts of things are going to happen at the Accrington game on Saturday?
So yeah, for those who haven't seen what happened on Sunday, so to be honest, the day is mostly about visibility and just like getting education on the issue of sexism in football. And just people seeing the hashtag Hergametoo and wondering what that is and what the campaign's about. So we've got Harvey and Floyd wearing the Hergametoo t-shirts. We're going around with photo frames. And if you take a photo with the photo frame and post it on social media with the hashtag CFC Hergametoo, you can win a signed shirt. So that's good, incentivising people to get to know about the campaign. Obviously got interviews going on across the club's channels to educate on the campaign, and yeah, just it's all about visibility really, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think at the Supporters Trust stall, which we run at home games as well, I think we'll have a Hergametoo flag, hopefully.
Yeah.
And fans can come along and get their pictures taken there and then tweet that or put it on other forms of social media like Instagram and so on. But for those people who aren't aware of what Hergametoo is, how would you describe the movement to people?
So Hergametoo was set up by a group of female football fans, mostly from the EFL, and they'd all experienced sexist abuse, whether that was online or in person. And they all came together to say, like, we need to make a campaign about this to try and change this from happening to people for the next generation, because you know, football should be as accessible, whether as a fan, footballer, or just working in the football industry, for women as it is men. Obviously, it's a male-dominated sport, but we want women to know that they're just as welcome in the sport as men are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, there obviously does exist, a very macho culture within football, even more so than most other sports, I guess. So, what can men do to be an ally to Hergametoo, apart from the obvious? You should treat every woman as if, you should treat every woman in the same way as you would treat your sister, your mother, your grandmother, your wife, and so on. But what other practical things can men do to support this cause and to be an ally to this cause?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, if it's something you wouldn't say around your mum or your sister, then don't bring it to football. I think you have to be conscious of the female fans around. I mean, something that we spoke about in a video that went out on the club's social channels this week is the song that I won't repeat, but mentions like female body parts that Charlton fans sing, and I think just, recognising the power that those words have, and like if you put yourself in the shoes of a woman that went to a football game for the first time and she heard that song, it wouldn't make her feel particularly welcome, and that sort of thing. And I suppose also massive thing for us is men vocalising that they support Hergametoo, and also calling out any sexist abuse they do here and telling people to shut up, essentially. I think men sometimes, unfortunately, some men of course, but like unless they're told by their peers and by their friends that what they're doing is wrong, they won't listen to it. They'll just think you're being condescending. So yeah, it's kind of, sometimes taking it into your own hands and fighting in our corner as well.
Yeah, and I mean, we're here actually in the University of Greenwich, and as somebody who works in education, I have witnessed sexist abuse of students in the university grounds by people from outside the university. For example, someone will call out of a van or whatever and shout at students. And very often I do think it is about just asking them why they're doing that, or highlighting to them why it's wrong.
Yeah.
And this is something, actually, this movement welcomes men to be a part of it and to be visible at games and so on. So on Saturday, what advice would you give to male fans in terms of showing their support for this on social media and so on?
Yeah, you're right in the sense of like this is definitely a campaign for men as well as women. I mean, for example, Charlton's manager, Dean Holden, has been really enthusiastic about the campaign, has really wanted to talk to us about it and, you know, what it's about, try and help out as much as he can and give it as much visibility as he can. So same applies for the Charlton fans on Saturday. Like, if you don't know about Hergametoo, feel free to reach out either to me or to any of the other members of the group that will be in the programme. All the names will be in the programme, and just find out more. And also just, you know, I think we said when we first launched these match days, like if you can bring a woman in your life or a female in your life that's never been to football for whatever reason, whether because they felt like they wouldn't be bothered by it, or like that, like I don't know, into football, or they don't see it as a space for them, or they were fearful of coming because it's a male-dominated environment. Like that was one of our messages, was try and bring a woman in your life along, and yeah, just come and celebrate our female fan base basically and all of our achievements.
Yeah, because you mentioned Dean Holden as well, and you know, he has been supportive of, you know, a whole range of EDI causes, and you know, he's very proactive in this. So have you actually spoken to Dean and the players personally?
Yeah, so today I went down to Sparrows Lane with Lorraine. Dean is another member of the Charlton Hergametoo group. There's about 15 to 20 of us in that group, so we all meet up once, twice every month. But yeah, she came along with me to Sparrows Lane, so the club invited us to go down and basically talk about the campaign, so the players had a bit of an understanding of, you know, the dedicated match day, what it was all about, you know, why they're warming up in Hergametoo t-shirts, and it not just being a bit of a tick box exercise, and really getting to grips of what the campaign means. So no, I was actually really pleased with the reaction that we got, particularly from Dean, just because, you know, he really made an emphasis to the players that this is an important topic that they should be paying attention to. And also he's, you know, wants to have further talks with us about the campaign. He doesn't want to just leave it there at that meeting, and then, you know, he's keen to let us know that he's on the side. And also, particularly Egbo and Claire and Terrell Thomas were all very interested in the discussion we were having, and were like firing the points like to bounce back with me and Lorraine during the presentation. So that was really good. And I think, you know, it's difficult sometimes as a woman, like talking to a whole group of men about a female issue, and I appreciate that it might be difficult to understand, but they all reacted really well, and that, you know, they all shook our hands and stuff like that, and it was really good. I felt really welcome. They really paid attention to it, so I'm really grateful for that. Okay,
and I also saw that this week on social media, you have said, you know, the Charlton Hergametoo account has said that you've got really positive feedback on social media, and I think that's good to see as well, because, you know, there have been issues in the past, not just at Charlton, but in various places with regard to abuse on social media. So has that improved in recent times, with more awareness that people have about this?
Do you know what? It's interesting, because I think I've had instances of sex abuse in person, but it's definitely been majority online. Now, I don't know whether it's something to do with me starting to work in the media, I don't know, or if it's something to do with the fact that Hergametoo is getting more of a profile at the club, and the female supporters are getting more of a profile at the club, and the club has shown that they care about us and they're on side of us, that it's deterred people from, you know, they might say it in private, but they certainly haven't sent us abuse online, and they certainly haven't sent it to us in person. So I think that in itself shows that it's getting better. Like, okay, I'd ideally like there to be no sexist abuse at all, whether that's behind closed doors or to my face, but the fact that it's happening less and less, and we haven't been on the receiving end of it after putting out that video about our experiences and about the song on the club's main channels, we were quite nervous to put that out, to be honest. But it's been 99.9% positive, and I think that says everything, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think you know, there is a real sense in the club of everyone having to pull together at the present time, and, you know, this sort of thing is one of the off the pitch successes that we're having at a time when there are various issues as regards ownership and performance on the pitch.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, and from the supporters trust, we try as much as possible to get as many fans at games as we can.
Yeah.
So do you see a future where more families and young female fans will start to come to games?
Definitely, and obviously the campaign helps that, but I do think just in general, I think women are getting more into football. I think women's football has helped with that a lot. Not just because of the Lionesses, but because of WSL and more female pundits on your TV screen. I think if you can't see it, you can't envision it yourself doing it, and I think the more visibility that women have got in football is helping massively. And I think campaigns like Hergametoo that show a young girl that, oh look, these groups of women go to football every week and they love it, maybe that's something I would like. I think that's so important. Like, I didn't have that when I was younger. Like, I had my mum and my other women in my life that would go to football, but without them I wouldn't have known about it, and I wouldn't have seen it as something that was accessible to me. So I think it's just important. And I do think that with the more visibility that happens, the better. Obviously, with our Charlton Hergametoo group, a massive thing that we're talking about at the moment is for season ticket holders for the men's team, only 14% are female. And I don't know whether people think that's really low or whether people think that's high. Like, the team today, like the players today, actually thought that was about right. For me, I thought it was a bit low. The average across the leagues who we've surveyed, the campaign, is 14%. So we're on average. But the highest that we found is Ipswich, who had 18%. So our target is, getting that up. So I think, more stuff around the ground. Like, we've put in free sanitary products.
Mm-hmm.
We've got an abuse line for any incidents of sexism. So I think women, hopefully, as time goes on, will have more and more things that make them feel more welcome, and just that football is a space for them, basically.
Okay, so if fans want to get more involved in this, or if they want to find out some information prior to Saturday's game, how can they actually do that?
Yeah, so if you want more information on the campaign, you can just go to the campaign's website, which is www.hergametoo.com, or for a more Charlton-specific angle, you can go to our Twitter, which is @CAFC_HGT, and you can see a little bit more of what we've been up to and the work that we've been doing with the club. And we're also going to make an Instagram page, so if you don't have Twitter, then you can follow us on there too.
Mm-hmm. And there's also a working group which the Supporters Trust are involved in, and anyone is welcome to get involved in that as well. I think as long as they're committed to the values of Hergametoo.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, just contact fans at cafc.co.uk if you want to be a part of it.
Okay, great. And I guess all that probably remains for us is to look forward to Saturday and hope that we get a good result on the pitch and off it. And I would certainly encourage people to come along to the game, because it is it is a very family friendly occasion, and we look forward to it. And if you want to come and get your picture taken at the Supporters Trust stall, you can do that on Saturday and then tweet about it. And Hergametoo representatives will be around the stadium as well, with the selfie frame, isn't that right? Yeah, the selfie frame, and then if you post that online with the hashtag CAFC Hergametoo, then you're in for a chance of winning a signed shirt. So yeah, get involved. Okay, all right, that's great. So thanks, Tash, and we look forward to this on Saturday, and hopefully a return to winning ways as well. Thanks, Paul. Come on, you Reds.